welcome to Energy and Natural Resources. Is there a motion to move into executive?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Pearl. Senator Waters made the motion, and I'm going to entertain. We gotta vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none. All right. Let's start with 123.
Let's start with 123. I'll make a motion about the pass.
Is there a second? Okay.
And I want to offer amendment 2101S.
Second.
And speak to your motion.
Should be on your desk. So this has been a long and arduous task, but I believe we've arrived at language that
Everybody will be upset with?
I won't say all the stakeholders love it, but everybody, I think, can live with it, at least from the conversations I've had. So what we've done is we've taken this bill and we're creating a commission with a group of stakeholders who have a real interest in the topic. And we put together, I believe there's 12, if my memory is correct, on the count. Additionally, we've defined what pre-sequestration of timber is, and in 79.1, we've put in some language in 79.5 about payments in lieu of taxes during this moratorium. That is, I'm going to talk about in a minute, but during this process, so that those landowners who are good stewards in their community and they're participating in these carbon sequestration projects, they can make a payment to the community to help out because of the lack or the loss of revenue from not cutting timber. So that option is there for them to do. That is bottom of
First
page
page.
1, section 2, starting on line 27. Then in section 3 is the study commission. I should have just followed the bill rather than getting ahead of myself. The moratorium language would be the next section. There's some language on the commission. Most of it's boilerplate language about quorums and reporting. Page 3, starting on line 22, is the moratorium language. This has required a lot of compromise from all parties involved. But this will put a moratorium in place for all projects over 500 acres. There is an exemption for small projects so that, that are under 500 acre parcels. Those typically are shorter projects that can be, associations or smaller landowners that choose to get into them. But we felt that those weren't going to be as much of a significant impact to the community, so we exempted them. But this, the biggest thing with the moratorium is it is in place as long as the commission is in place, which will be no later than November 1st of 27. But the moratorium ends when the commission puts out its final report. So it gives an incentive for them to get on the topic and really get in there and do a good job and do it quickly. And it also exempts current contracts because we can't go back and put a moratorium on contracts that are then in place. And we've had a lot of back and forth on this language, and if you have any questions on it, we do have somebody here that can answer them, but I think it's in a pretty good place where it is. And the last thing the bill does is it repeals the sections on the commission and the payment in lieu of taxes program when on November 1st of 27. So the commission does not live forever. It has a defined end date. So that is what the bill does, or the amendment. The bill will.
Questions? Go ahead, Senator.
I knew you were going to have one. I was
No,
ready.
not a question. I'm going to have to vote against this for two reasons. One, I think 500 acres is too small, and then it should be 1,000, which would include, I think, 31 properties. So I think this just reaches too far down into smaller holdings. But I'm also concerned about giving a credit for the tax against the timber tax. And the reason is, and I brought this up at the public hearing, for HCA, we tax them twice, two different taxes on the same revenues, and any credit they get does not make them whole. So, I just think we should treat industries kind of the same.
Thoughts?
I respect her position, but I respectfully disagree.
Okay.
We've done a lot of work on this with the counties as well as the communities involved, and everybody's can live with this while we're there. I mean, again, this is short term. This is, once this moratorium is over and the commission has put out their report, then hopefully we're gonna have some language to work with, you know, perhaps a different path to go forward, but that's why we're assembling the commission, to put all those brilliant minds in one room and let them come up with an answer.
Can you live with it, seeing how it is a short term?
Well, I don't see that the tax credit is short-term. And,
Point me to the line where your issue is.
what?
Which line is your issue? Which
So-
line of the bill?
26 and 25 and 26.
On,
Page 1, I'm sorry.
That's 79.5.
Yes.
That is current law. We're not changing it.
Well, we're imposing a new tax, right?
No,
I mean, the carbon sequestration.
no, there's no new tax in this. And that is current law, what the part you have an issue with in 79.5.
Okay. Well, as
We're
we
not,
know.
we're not
I
changing.
don't know anything about this
Yes,
stuff.
no, that is current law, 79.5.
Okay.
I'm just confirming I'm correct.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, so it does seem that what this says is that we have the current statute, which was very problematic in how it get applied and assessed. But now with Section 2, there's an alternative so that it would let a landowner, without all the full assessment and inspection and so on, come to an agreement with the town that here's the payment in lieu of taxes. And
Correct.
I think that's very efficient, and since 79.5 as it existed, I just didn't see how it could ever work. That this, I think, makes that functional. And then as far as the original proposal in 123, that's just gone. So there's no double taxation, but this new commission will try to come to grips with this new, well, relatively new carbon sequestration issue. And so I think that, you know, no matter what happens with the commission, the solution that you come up with for 79.5, I just find things make sense, and will continue, no matter, I think, no matter what the commission does. So that's good problem solved.
So, Senator, if you look on page 3, starting on line 4, we agreed that there's some concerns with the way 79.5 is written, and I've put that as one of the charges of the commission to look at and see if they can come up with it, because 79.5, the way it's written, is very difficult, in fact, near impossible for the communities to impose. So we're putting that as one of the topics for this commission to look at, to see if there's a better way to arrive at that. Sure.
So the moratorium itself seems to interfere with personal property rights. And I think generally we don't do that.
So I appreciate that question, and I asked that as well. And I spoke with our Senate attorney to make sure when we were starting this that we weren't going to be running into a constitutional issue. And his response to me was this would not be a violation of personal property rights. And I can read his full explanation if you want, but I can attempt to.
No, I wouldn't understand.
As long as the property owner is still able to enjoy the majority of the rights, this would not be interpreted as a property rights issue. So that is why we went forward with it. So I did ask that question because it was a big concern of mine as well.
and it is a moratorium for a short period of time,
It
right?
is.
It's just so those, a
A
solution could
maximum
be.
of 2 years and 3 months, and it can be much shorter than that if the commission does its due diligence and gets right on it.
So So this is just asking for a pause so that we can come up with a solution.
Correct.
To a very complex issue.
Senator, I enjoy your support. Is there any other concerns of yours that I can address?
No, but you know, I don't understand that stuff.
I understand.
Senator McConkey, how you doing?
Good. Apologize for my
No
tardiness.
worries. Thank you. We're looking at the amendment on 123.
We were told you were gonna be 12 minutes late, and it's now 14.
Oh, now you're late.
Traffic light.
We've been reviewing 123, the new amendment that I'm introducing. I want to answer any of your questions too, if you have any. I'm not sure if you've had the chance. It's here in front of you to review.
I have reviewed.
And you might want to turn on your, there you go.
Did you have any questions that I can answer for you on?
As nice as that offer is, I'm all set.
All right.
Thank you, I have read through it.
I wanted to make sure you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So with that, any further discussion on the amendment 2101? All in favor of 2101, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion to ought to pass as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Senator Waters. And discussion? All in favor of ought to pass as amended?
Aye.
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 Nay. And,
Will you oppose consent or?
No.
okay, so is there a motion for consent? Okay, seconded by Senator McConkey?
Yes.
All right, and all in favor of consent?
Say aye.
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 I suspect
Senator
you'll want-
Rosenwald, would you like to take this out?
I suspect you want me to take this out?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Lots of work. Good job.
Well, thanks to all of you guys, because there's many in this crowd that helped with this. It was not solely my effort.
All right, 171, is there a motion on 171?
Move we refer?
Second.
Second, and discussion? All in favor of?
No, I just, if I may.
You may.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So after a lot of discussion and potential amendments on this in this committee, this is one of the ones that despite our fact of having a bill, because it is so interwoven with the site evaluation commission language that is in HB 2 that the governor put forward and the House then worked on, that it does seem to make the most sense for our work on this to be done in HB 2, which I think it will be done successfully. And so if we refer, we would have it for any kind of particular reason we might need it. But I do think we'll have a very good solution and a commitment to finally taking care of the landfill issues that have bedeviled us for many years now through 171. Through House Bill 2. And I particularly appreciate the work of Senator Pearl on it in House Bill 2.
Okay. Further discussion? Senator Rosenwald.
Thank you. I appreciate the work of Senator Pearl too, but I don't believe this belongs in House Bill 2 because it doesn't have a budget impact. So, because we have a statute saying that stuff that goes into House Bill 2 really can only have a budget impact, I can't be supportive of keeping this in the budget. I understand the political reasons to do that, but I'll just vote against the re-refer quietly.
Well, we'll still have it in the bank for later in
Yes.
case we need it, so. Any further discussion? All in favor of re-refer? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And is it?
Consent?
Second.
Any opposed to consent? Seeing none. All right, I'll take this one out.
All right, aye.
Aye.
Consent.
Oh, yeah. All in consent?
Aye.
Seeing none opposed? All right, leave it. 189.
Who's taking it out?
I am.
Okay.
You want,
I can change that in a heartbeat.
careful what you
I'll
wish
move
for.
189 ought to pass.
Is there a second?
Second?
Discussion.
I have an amendment, 1855. I will move the amendment.
Seconded by, I second it, 1855.
And as I pointed out in the hearing, I thought the definition of clean energy needed to be a little more in accordance with what we usually use, and I talked to the sponsor about it. So you'll see on lines 10 and 11, clean energy means minimal to no greenhouse gas emissions, including nuclear and other renewable sources. So it's just changing, clean energy means minimal to no greenhouse gas emitting sources. And so I think that's what the bill wants to do, the bill's gonna do, and it's just a more technical definition for clean energy.
Senator Pearl?
I will support that amendment. I think it brings it in line with, to be consistent in other areas of language that we use that similar terminology.
Further discussion on the amendment? All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll move on to pass as amended.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor of ought to pass as amended?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none?
Consent.
Second.
All right, OTP consent. All in favor of consent?
Aye.
Any opposed? Senator Waters, would you like to take this
Sure.
one out? 221.
I'll move, re-refer.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor of re-refer?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none? Is there a motion for consent?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Yeah.
Second. Okay, okay. And all in favor of re-refer on consent?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none? Senator McConkey, I haven't given you anything yet.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Who's taking out 189, by the way?
You are.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I'm
It's
a little
yours.
tired today.
That's all right. We're gonna give it to Cindy. She's been asking for it much.
Oh, yeah, dark.
Oh, yeah, it's right there.
Consent. Hang on, I gotta make my notes and send them. Yes, 416.
Move up, pass.
Second. And I will move amendment 1587S.
Second. Discussion?
Yeah, so on this amendment, I talked with the Attorney General's office because there was some concern about the definition of peace officer.
Right.
And so what you'll see on lines 5 to 7, the authority to enforce this section shall extend to all peace officers in the state of New Hampshire as defined by RSA 294:1, and we needed that as defined added there. And then you may recall that the bill had struck purposely, and I thought that since we're going to a felony level here, that we ought to have the purposely, and in talking with the sponsor and others, they said, yeah, it probably makes sense to not to restore it to the original language, because this has been stricken in the bill, but this, to restore it to the original language, that's lines 11 and 12. So that's the amendment, Mr. Chairman.
Further discussion?
Sounds good to me.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
We'll move on to pass as amended.
Second.
Second by Senator Pearl. Discussion? All in favor of ought to pass as amended?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none?
Consent.
Consent by Pearl, seconded by Senator Waters. All in favor of consent?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none. Senator Rosenwald, would you like to take this one up? I don't want to be cheap here.
Equal opportunity.
Everybody gets one.
It's our DEI.
Yeah. Watch out.
Democrats included.
Watch out. The feds are going to be here.
Democrats included. DEI, okay?
That's right.
We got it.
Democrats included. Whoa.
I'll stay quiet.
Okay, 7:10. Is there a motion of ought to pass?
Yeah, what's the best?
Second.
Okay, discussion. Okay, I'm going to move an amendment 1789?
1763? That's what I got.
1763?
Yeah, that's mine, but
Oh, do you have another one?
what's yours?
Mine's 1789?
Yeah, I don't know if I have
I
that.
don't have that one.
Here, maybe I do in my binder. Let me see. They did some bond there, let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a Senator Avard, and I might have it in here. I remember it from last time. But,
1789?
Yes, sir.
Do you have it?
Yeah, I have it.
Maybe I do in here.
I don't have any other amendments, right? This is the only one that I had, right? And Senator Waters has one too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And
So has this been moved? I've seconded it.
it's been seconded. What, I moved 1789, I think you seconded it?
Yeah, sure.
Senator Waters seconded it.
yeah, I don't have yours either, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I don't, nobody has, I'm the only, we only have.
But you have one.
You didn't get a copy of this? He's got one.
I remember
Yeah, I
seeing
do
it,
know.
I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what I do with it. I don't seem to have it.
Let's make some copies.
Yeah. Want to pause for a few minutes and then?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want one? Page 2. There you go, man.
While we're
Certainly.
pausing, Mr. Chairman, oh, has this been moved?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll wait until after this.
This has a little bit of my bill that kind of
Yeah, yeah, that's
complemented
good,
it.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah, no, let's see if we have that one. Oh, we'll have it in a minute.
Is it hot in here or is it me?
I think it's you, sir.
I'm a little warm, but I'm
I'm hot. Well, we don't want our electric bill to go up. So
We're
we
getting
don't.
solar, we got solar.
Oh, we got
okay.
solar?
We're forced hot air in here.
That's steam.
Everybody be comfortable. I mean-
That's steam,
I
gentlemen.
think the AC's on, Kevin.
What's
I
that?
think the AC is on.
The AC's on in here?
Yeah.
We have AC in here?
They
Oh,
do?
yeah, right over there.
Yes.
It's the miracle of modern technology, Mr. Chairman.
Well, it's cooler out here.
You should come in this afternoon for finance.
Ooh.
It's way freezing. I'm roasting over there.
Close this one.
We need to switch seats again. We need to switch seats again.
We'll definitely have to conflict too. I know it's
Yeah,
definitely
we'll see.
making
We'll see.
sweat.
I appreciate it, and we'll do it, and we'll see where we end up. But I will, it's so.
So this is a bill that we heard and we passed, and basically just adding it to 710 and
Max, did we move the amendment?
yes,
Okay.
se-
1789?
1789.
Yeah, okay. Just wanted to make sure. Sorry, I couldn't remember where we were.
Yeah. There's just one section that I'd like to change on this, on page 2, where line 8, where it says the investor-owned electric utilities and the Department of Energy, you can strike "and the Department of Energy" off of that. So
we'll
as a
go through the
committee amendment, we'll remove "and the Department of Energy."
I'll second the committee amendment.
Okay? I moved it. Um, These activities may include the management of funding and oversight of nuclear incentive programs and described by RS 374G, as well as outreach programs, inform and educate people, public, okay, so it's all. All in favor of changing that wording? Let's start with that.
This will be the committee amendment.
On the committee amendment, yeah. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none. All in favor of the amendment?
And it was-
You just passed it, right?
No, that just, I just passed the committee change.
Oh, okay.
I had a bill that basically allowed for large nuclear, and this basically is, they retain my bill, so I'm putting this back on theirs.
But doesn't this also talk about power purchase agreement?
Yes.
Was that in your original bill?
Yes.
That was that Senate Bill 54?
No, I don't think it was same.
I mean, there was, I remember
Wasn't seven.
there was a previous bill, we had a Senate bill.
That was his.
That was my bill,
That
and they
allowed-
retained it,
Okay.
so we're just giving it back in an amendment.
So I think these long-term purchase agreements are very risky for the ratepayer. I think they're good for the generator, but I think it's a risk for the ratepayer because we don't have a crystal ball. And so I don't know how your amendment really differs from the original bill. Both had the purchase power agreements.
Mhm.
If I may, I mean, purchase power agreements already exist. All you're doing is adding the word existing to the sources that are qualified for a purchase power agreement. Am I correct?
You are correct.
Okay,
I thought they didn't exist for nuclear,
correct,
and that was the point of the original earlier bill.
correct. And by adding the word existing, it would allow the nuclear plant that's in the state
It's on
to
page 2.
participate.
All megawatt hours procured through this agreement made pursuant to this section shall come from existing, new or incremental electric energy sources. It's just, we have a nuclear power plant, and, so if we might as well take advantage of it, and if there's new technology that we can take advantage of, we definitely would like to take advantage of it. Senator Waters?
Yeah, I think there's two issues here. Our power purchase agreement's a good idea. And I think we've learned a few years ago that it might have been pretty good to have one when the gas prices spiked. But moving forward, the PUC in approving such will still determine what's in the best interest of the ratepayer. But the other side of this was that I think this allows us to counter what may occur if another state bids a long-term procurement contract into existing nuclear resources. And if we don't have an option like this, I just fear, and maybe this is unfounded, but based on, what could happen, it would be good for us to have this tool so that if that occurs from another state, we would have a way to counter or to try to ensure that, New Hampshire customers are served this way. Now, I know that Eversource or whatever, they will find our power for the state of New Hampshire somewhere, always. So maybe, they would find, even no matter what would happen with Seabrook, they would find a way to get us power, but it might not be as cheap. So anyways, I think that this is it's kind of enabling in a way, and I think it's a good, I think it's kind of a safety net for our policy, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I agree. I do think the key word is enabling. And I've always been of all the above. And I want to include, both large and small nuclear.
Yeah, I don't have any issue with the nuclear part, with including small nuclear. I think it's risky financially, and that's my whole issue. That's why I didn't support your bill that the House killed,
That's fine.
and I'm sorry.
No, that's good.
But I just think it's financially a risk. And every year when I get a letter from Liberty Utilities saying, do you want to lock in a rate? It's not for 20 years or 40 years, it's for 1 year. So this would lock the ratepayers potentially in for a really long time when we don't know.
Right.
And I'm more cautious.
There is some oversight, as Senator Waters did say, though, that if it's in the public interest. That's good, we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any further discussion? All in favor of 1789S?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
All in favor of,
I want to offer an amendment.
oh, you do, that's right, yes.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to offer Amendment 1763.
Second, any for discussion?
So this may look familiar. It is a much reduced version of Senate Bill 228, which did not succeed in the House. And I think that in this reduced version, I think there's a good argument to be made that these forms of energy, by upping slightly to 500 kilowatts, and then the overall number of projects that the Department of Energy will have a process here, as you'll see on page 2. So this is a limited program, and the total capacity of the program will be up to 18 megawatts. The argument on this part of the bill is that these seem to be numbers that will work better for investors. And I think we know there's a lot of appetite for these kinds of projects in our municipalities. The second part of the bill, as you'll see starting on page 2, which again should look familiar, some language on educational institutions or special purpose by a governmental unit, including public housing, and we have the appropriate definition for that. And so this will let our municipalities who want to do public housing or power a school or otherwise to maybe have a better chance to have an investment in that. And I will also note, as I've said before, that in January and February, 98% of all new generation capacity added with solar or wind. So this seems to be the one way we can get some new generation. And as we also know, these kinds of programs are the one way that we have through distributed energy resources to potentially reduce transmission costs. So it's a small piece, but I would like the opportunity to have further discussion of it in the committee of conference. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Good question. What happened to your original bill?
Well, we did a lot of amending of it during the process in the Senate, and there was an option to amend it even further in the House, and it just didn't. There's some, kind of resistance in the House, as we've seen what was added to HB2 to solar in general.
So
And,
did the House kill it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank
Yeah,
you.
sorry, I didn't know. I didn't get the thrust of your
So
question. but
maybe
you
they
got
didn't
it.
get a
Cut
good
to the
chance to
chase.
look at it, so we're gonna give them a really good chance to look at it, I
We're
think, if
gonna
it passes.
nail them to the floor.
That's right.
Adam,
Further discussion on the amendment? Seeing how we passed it already in the past. All in favor of, what's the number again?
1763S.
1763. Aye.
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 Hey,
Any opposed?
and ought to pass as amended.
Second?
Discussion. All in favor ought to pass as amended.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No,
That's okay.
I would like to not put this on consent.
Not have it, consent?
You don't want it on consent?
No, thank you.
Okay, all right, we'll take it out, keep it out.
Because I might screw my courage to the sticking point
No, that's fine.
and speak.
So, okay, so I'll take it out.
Good. So, we're done with bills?
We are done with bills.
So, if I could mention something, Mr. Chairman, so, as you know, in Senate Finance, we're going through the process of looking at House bills that were either retained or in committee, and using that as a reason to delete them from House Bill 2. And we took some actions related to this committee already. Senate Bill 504, which we passed in a good form, and I think is going to meet some favor in the House, so that could come out of the HB2, and we did that yesterday. And as I mentioned earlier, there's some continuing work on the landfill issue, and I think given our action today, that 707 may well come out of the HB2. For the remaining energy bills that were put in there, referring to the Renewable Energy Fund, what Senator Pearl and I have proposed is to allow the sweep, because we need some money in 2025, but retaining enough funding so that the committed projects that are contracted, there's a tail there, and those will get done. And then, rather than ending the program and deleting solar from renewable energy portfolio standards, which again seems to me rather strange, but that was done. So Senator Pearl and I have an amendment which will say that those the Renewable Energy Fund will continue, and solar will still be included, but that it will be limited by two things. One is that there will be some funding from that fund to help support the new office, or the changed office of, of energy, new energy sources, or whatever they call it. So it's the nuclear and the offshore wind, keeping tabs on that, and then other administrative costs. But then, once those are covered, up to a total of $5 million could be used for new projects. Now, the fund may produce $7 million a year, so there will still be some going to the general fund.
Is hydro affected in this?
Right?
Is hydro affected?
Potentially, yes. Yeah, so that's why I thought it'd be good, they wanted to basically get rid of these things, and I think it's important for them to continue, but we recognize the need for some money, so that's a kind of a compromise that Senator Pearl and I are putting in. So I just wanted the committee to know, and I hope that as you talk to your colleagues on finance, that you'll suggest that this is a good way forward coming from this committee's opinion. All right, so that's that.
Well done.
We'll see if it's well done. We'll see.
All right. I think we're done.
Motion to go out of exec?
All in
Second.
favor of motioning to remove us from exec? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Seeing none. So Max, good job.
Yay, yay.
All right.
Way to go, Mr. Chairman.
I didn't do it, you guys did it all.
Oh, you're just so much.
I'm just a pretty face.
Well, that's true too.
I have Vanna.
Was it a good Mother's Day in your household?
Yeah, we did. Great one.
What'd you do?
How about
Did you
you?
go out or?
Yeah, we did.
All
A
right.
lot of Greek festivities.
Yeah.